Alright, so this is a quick little video to look at making a Christmas bauble using Corel Draw, and then we'll look at sending it to the laser. So we're looking at a circle like this, another circle inside it, a little circle on the very top of it, and then putting a name and text through the middle. So obviously you can put more than one name, put a few little messages, our first Christmas, whatever you like can be put into there. So to get started, we need to open up Corel Draw, and when you create a new file in Corel Draw, you need to make sure that the color is RGB, 1000 mil wide by 600 high in a landscape orientation, and that's the size that we need. So there was a video earlier on how to set up Corel so that when you do draw, if I grab the ellipse tool now, it should be hairline and the color should be RGB red. That's what we want to draw. Whenever we draw in Corel, we need to draw like that, and that's what the laser is going to understand. So to start our Christmas bauble, we're going to select the ellipse tool. If you hold down Control and start drawing, it draws you a perfectly round circle. And once you have drawn your circle, we can adjust the measurements there. So if we have the lock button on, then we're going to go 90 mil. If you haven't got that lock button on and you drew it just by hand without pressing the Control button, you'll see that it draws it as a bit of an oval or an ellipse there. So got our circle and it's 90 mil. There's our starting point. We're actually now going to look at, I've used this recently, but across the side here, across the top, object, and then we are going to effects, and let's click on contour. Control F9 is the shortcut. Now, we want to make sure our outline is red, and we're going to have an offset of 8 millimeters. And once you have done that, and when you're selecting red, when you click onto it, red is 255. That's the number that must be in RGB red. When you open it, it'll probably say 000. So click on that 0 next to the letter R and go say 255. And once you have done that, and you click apply, it's going to show us that little shape there. Now, you can scroll in to look at your space you're after, but if you grab that magnifying glass, zoom over it, that's the shape we're looking at there. The next thing we're doing is grabbing that circle again, hold down Control. Now I want this circle to be 12 millimeters. Now I've unlocked it, so I need to go to the next one, type in 12, and there we go. I'm going to click on Control Copy and Control V, and now up here I'm going to -6, and over here -6. So there's my two circles. I'm going to grab that from the center, and as it touches the edge, it should be telling you that it is edge until it goes around and it says quadrant. There's the very top, and that's what we're after there. So again, I'm going to zoom into that, and I want to grab the virtual segment delete tool. Now it might have the crop tool for you, so click on that little triangle and bring up virtual segment delete. So you want to delete the middle of that line. Missed a step, of course. So Control Z. What we actually need to do as well, highlight the entire drawing, go up to object, and we want to break the four objects that are selected apart. Now, when I zoom in, and I grab my virtual segment delete, I can delete some of these lines. So I want to delete those two there. If I cut with that there, it's going to cut that whole top circle off and the bottom of that there. So the laser is going to come across, cut the outside, and then cut the little circle there. I'm going to zoom out now, and here I have the main part of my bauble. So I'm going to select all of that, say Control G, which across the top is Object and Group, and I'll actually copy that, paste it, and I'll put one aside so I've got at least one there. So if I want to make multiple baubles, put a few different names in, then I would just keep that as my base shape. I'm now going to click on the letter A, bring up the text, and I'm going to type in a name here, capital G R E G O R Y. So we have Gregory. We're going to change that font. Now you can choose, go through all your different options there. Today I'm going to use Cooper Black. Anada Black is a good one, gives that cursive look. You'll need to download that font and then install that. So you can look at a video on how to do that. Now the font there, I'm going to go with 60. That brings up Gregory. Now if I look at that, that looks like it's going to fit quite nicely in that width there. So I've got the name Gregory. I'm going to select that across the top, go to Object, and we want to break Gregory apart. So have it. Now, we want to use across the side on the colors, we're going to left click on no fill, which is white with a red line. Oop, we need to make sure we select the entire name. So left click, the whole name has disappeared. Then we're going to right click on the red, and that gives us our outline there. We can look at zooming in here. So we get all of Gregory, and now we're going to grab each letter and move them across. So I'm going to have my R cross over with that section of the G, move my letter E across. So you need to play around with this to see what fits best. So different letters, different combinations. Sometimes you might need to go up and down a little bit. I might just keep going, zoom through this. So obviously using the nudge tool, we can then move them across and around a little bit. And you can pick it up with your cursor as well. Then obviously you do miss your alignment, lose your alignments. But if we grab that, I think that's going to work well. And I'm going to grab my Y. Now we have dropped down a little bit, which is fine. That can be part of your design as well. I'm now going to select all of this up the top into object, and I want to convert to curves. That gets rid of all the text information. Get my virtual segment delete, and I'm now going to delete all of those lines where they overlap. Zoom out, in and out. Using the mouse makes this a lot easier. And now that we have Gregory there, I might actually Control G. So now that's going to be one whole word, and I can't just move one letter out of place. Now it's a little bit short. What I might do, make the, so you can play around with this, you can work out, does it work for you? That Y, I might lose too much detail. That looks like it'll do it. Now I'm going to get my virtual segment delete those two, across to here, delete those two, and then take a look back and see, does that look like I can still read that word that I'm after? So, as I said before, this is all in red, and it needs to be hairline red. So if you've drawn this, and if it says 0.2, it doesn't actually look any different to what I'm doing, but the laser won't read that. So you need to click on hairline, and you need to make sure over here it is red as well. If it's not, if it's CMYK, then double click on that little palette, and that's when you can look at accessing. So it might be CMYK, maybe something else. So click on RGB, make sure it is 255, and the other numbers are 0 and 0. So if you've got that, enter, shut that down, make sure the width of your line is hairline, and then say OK. And your image is now ready to go to the laser. So I would look at saving this to a USB, depending on what program we're using or the driver. But my process at the moment is to save this to USB and then open it up on the computer attached to the laser. Open it in Corel, looks just like this, and you'll be telling it to go File, Print, and then select the Trotec engraver and open up Job Control and go from there.